Hey you, it's Allison. I'm a death doula, grief educator, and coach, as well as an end of life services planner. So, before I got into my day of work, I wanted to start it with you and to share an oracle card deck that I recently was gifted. They are the Grief, Grace, and Healing cards. These are different than the grief cards that I pull that are done by David Kessler. But it's also broken up into three parts of grief, grace, and healing. And so today I thought before I got started, I could share one of these cards with you and read a little bit about it. So as you can see, these are the three different sections of the card. So I'm going to pull one and read it. So look how beautiful these cards are. So today I'm going to pull one from the healing deck. Look how gorgeous these are. This one is See the Breakthroughs. There can be a plateau period in the healing pilgrimage, as well as seasons of rapid, dramatic progression. This card suggests that some amazing healing breakthroughs have happened recently. Sit mindfully with them, digest the wisdom, and that's your inner wisdom, and examine all the layers. Dawning enlightenment and personal development. See familiar faces and old patterns with new eyes. I didn't realize it was the very last deck of the card. The last card of the deck. Clearly my coffee has not set in. So in the guidebook, it goes into a little bit deeper into the card, and it says, astounding breakthroughs now herald major healing changes that are on your horizon, as well as shifts in perspective and consciousness. And it's amazing how the journey of grief shifts everything, both physically, like our brain changes, our hormones and like the chemicals in our body changes, our perspectives change, our beliefs sometimes change, even like our circle of friends and people around us change, because we are such a grief and death illiterate society that the normal is to run away from it. And it truly takes it takes a different type of strength to face the grief and move around and with grief. So I'll continue here. The way you look at something, someone, or yourself is changing and evolving. Seeing another side of a familiar person or issue can be healing. And I find that grief, for me at least, I was able to see things with a deeper level of compassion. And I consider myself a pretty compassionate person. And after the death of my dad, and then a little bit prior to that, I had a friend who died by suicide. And it didn't really hit me until the death of my dad, where it kind of like that compounded grief. And I saw people differently. I saw their struggles differently. Particularly people who believe and think very different from me. Having a different level of compassion doesn't mean I agree with them, but I've got a different level of compassion than I've ever had before. Your intuition is dropping those aha epiphanies into your brain and out of the blue and fully formed. Try to keep your mind calm and less chatty to recognize these intuitive breakthroughs. You may be metaphorically seeing these breakthroughs, or you may be physically seeing them in your life, like watching a feuding family member hug and reconcile, or witnessing your partner walk away from a toxic workplace. Grief and grace brings breakthroughs, and healing requires noticing them. And then the guidebook also has a series of action steps. It's a pretty long one, but this last two sentences I thought was really powerful. Sometimes the most healing breakthroughs we experience do not involve others, but are rather about ourselves, allowing us to be with ourselves or our lives in a more healing, healthy, positive, nourishing way. That's very likely at least one aspect of a recent breakthrough you've experienced. And for me, it took 2 years, almost 3 years to get to a point. And I'm actually working on this fourth year, that the full year that I'm committed to my time, energy, investment is for the caring of myself. And that would be caring for my brain to learn, the caring of my body, so like the physical piece of it, and then the caring of my spirit. And so, two things have already manifested in my life to be able to do to feed my spirit and to feed my brain. And so soon I'll be working with someone to help, heal my body as well. So grief is really transformative, and it takes a while. I mean, it takes a long time. And grief is something that is a part of our body for the rest of our lives. It doesn't mean that every day will be dark. It doesn't mean every day we are feeling the heaviness of grief. But grief will always be a part of us. And I think for me, acknowledging and recognizing that grief is just a part of me now, it gives me a different level of acceptance, that I'm not fighting against it and I'm not resisting it. And it has opened up a whole new world. And I'm not saying that it has been pretty rainbows and, butterflies, because it has been hard. But it's been worth it. And I've been able to also create such an incredible community of people who either understand the language behind this club I didn't choose to be a part of, and also maybe those that haven't experienced that before, but have stayed by my side, have deepened our relationship. So I'd love to know your thoughts when you hear the card that I read and a little bit more about the meaning of that card. I'd love to hear more about what resonated with you, what was brought up for you, even questions that you might have or what you'd love to share. I'll see you soon.